So I work at the Central Institute of Meteorology. That's the Austrian Weather Service. And yeah, I'm a meteorologist. I'm a climatologist. I work on classical weather prediction. I also work at some topics to climate change, but I'm not the real, I'm not in of all these extreme topics. I'm one of the persons who goes out and tells the people what is going on, actually, or what changed in the last years and last decades. And now I want to show you what happened in the last decades and years. Here you can see in this slide, the graph shows you at the X scale, the timeline from 1886 up to 2021, so up to 2020. This is, and at the Y scale, the mean temperature of this Sumplik mountain is 3,100 meters high. That's why the temperatures are at minus. So you see at the beginning of this whole history, at the left side, the yellow dots are the single years, and the red line is just a trend line of 20 years. And as you can see, we started at -7 degrees Celsius, something like this. And in several waves, we started this warming, started in several waves. And since the 1980s, approximately since mid of 1980s, the warming was really fastening and really fasting very fast. So you can see here, now we're at the mean temperature, the mean temperature of the year of -4 degrees. And at the mid 80s, we still had maybe -6 degrees. So in the last 3 decades or 35 years, something like this, the climate was really changing fast. The temperature was rising above 2 degrees Celsius. And now the question is, where does this warming come from? And as we know, we know our climate system quite well. And we know for the whole period from the late 19th centuries up to now, the natural effects of solar and volcanic developments are influencing the climate. But the solar, the sun was not changing that much that you can say, okay, it's because the sun became more intense, so that's why it's becoming warmer. The volcanic activities just in the last 3 decades were quite weak compared to the decades before that. So the last really large volcanic activity, I think, was Pinatubo in 1991 and 1992. So since nearly 3 decades, we had no really strong volcanic eruption. And so that's why we know that solar volcanic development is not the reason why the temperature is rising in the last years so fast. We know that in the 60s and 70s, this area, we had temperatures just starting to decline a bit. They were not rising anymore. As in the decades before, we said a slowly rising temperature. And in the 60s and 70s, temperatures were just staying at one level, maybe like this. And we know that because of the air pollution, after the Second World War, the economy started to really grow very fast, especially in Germany, also in Austria. It was the Wirtschaftswunder, so the economic wonder at this time. And all this pollution, which was caused by by traffic, by all these factories, it was just not filtered in any case. And in the late 70s, we saw, hey, all our woods are dying. It was because of the sour rain. So it was sulfates in the air, and this were washed down by the rain, and this destroyed our woods. And so what did they do? They started to realize, hey, we are polluting our air extremely. And so they built in filters, and then also the cars. And this was the reason why the air became more clean again. The pollution was pulled down a bit, but we still went on to produce the greenhouse gases. So the air was not polluted anymore. So the global dimming was reduced, but we still produced a lot of greenhouse gases. So we know that this extremely strong rising temperatures from the mid of the 80s are caused, especially now, by the greenhouse gases. This is the station really high up in the mountains, so 3,100 meters. They didn't change anything a lot around. There's still some snow cover here, but we know there was no new road built next by, which maybe influenced the weather station. So we know this is a real good sign that really the greenhouse gases are the cause of climate change in the Alps. And as you see, 2 degrees Celsius, that's really a lot. As we talk about the climate conference of Paris, we want to control the rise of the temperatures to 1.5 to maybe 2 degrees Celsius, compared to the beginning of this plot here in the late 19th centuries. So that's really a huge starting warming in the last 30 years, and we want to, yes, 1.5 degrees for the whole planet. Since this period here in the Alps, we already had the warming of 3 degrees Celsius, and 2 degrees Celsius were just happening in the last 3 decades. So that's a really tough thing that we see here, and we know it's the greenhouse gases. It's us who are polluting still the air. It's us who are making these problems we are heading to. When I go on, for in Austria, we are in the Alps. So for us to show that climate change is going on, for sure, people are noticing that the glaciers are a really nice topic you can talk about. You have these pictures. As I show you here now, this is one picture of the so-called Pasterze Glacier. Pasterze Glacier, it's situated next to the highest mountain of Austria, the Großglockner. It was, or is still, the largest glacier in Austria. And I show you just 2 pictures from the same webcam. One was taken 2016, and the other was taken 2021. So it's just 5 years difference. And then you can see what happened in just 5 years at this glacier. As you maybe concentrate to the right of this glacier tongue coming down here, I later have a red line so you can concentrate in. So when I just go on to the next slide, you can see what happened. It was really, when I just go on and back a bit, you can really see how fast, just in 5 years, this glacier tongue was shrinking. And it's now here at the right side, you see this red dotted line or red striped line. It's 20 meters or more than 20 meters in height that this glacier tongue melted. So 20 meters of glacier ice. That is, as you know, maybe glacier ice has a density of 917 kilograms per cubic meter. And that means there is a lot. There is tons of snow which melted, which once then became ice. Tons of ice melted in just 5 years, 20 meters. And that shows us that the climate change, that the glacial retreat goes really on very, very fast. And so we cannot say there is no climate change. We know it, we see it, climate change is there. And as I said, as I told you before, I will talk a bit about the snow. As you can see up, this picture is just a few days old, so maybe 1 week old. Is from late September. In late September, even just the highest area, this peak to the left of the middle of the photo, is maybe 3,400 meters high. And just these high meters, not the feet, meters. And just this highest peak is still covered by snow of the last winter. And the snow line was increasing in the last year about several hundred meters. So the glaciers, just next to their death, because they have no snow cover in higher areas, which will feed them with ice in the next decades. So we expect that this glacier, for example, will die in the next maybe 5 to 10 years. Most of this glacier, or most of this ice mass, will have melted in the next, yeah, maybe 1 decade. And that is going so very fast. Even all the scientists didn't expect such a fast climate change. So that's really, really a strange, tough thing which is going on. And this snow cover, this reduction of the snow cover, so we have less snow cover in the valleys and up in the mountains, is also very interesting, maybe for the lunar stuff right now, to look at the stars, because if we have not any snow cover, so you expect to be that the air is darker. You have not snow cover is enlightening the area around you, and now this lack of snow, you have still a darker surrounding. What would be actually an improve to look at the stars. So this would be, especially in the Alps, a point where you can say, yeah, the increasing of the snow cover is better to look at the sky. The other thing that oh, what happened to this graphic here? Changed, sorry, very much. This graph should show you how relative humidity and how temperature change, but actually the second axis here went loose. But what I want to show you here is just the temperature increased very much in the last decade. As you saw, 3 degrees Celsius in the last decade. But the relative humidity did not increase or did not go back in the last decades. Why is this important? Warm air is able to capture more water vapor than dry air. So what does this mean? If you have warmer air, this warmer air could capture more water vapor. If you have more water vapor in the atmosphere, the sight is not that good anymore, because the water vapor brings a more diffuse light, so you cannot see that good the sight. When you look to the stars far away, water vapor is not the best thing. You want to have dry air, but warmer air could capture more humidity, and that's a problem we have in climate change. When it gets warmer, the humidity can rise as well. Actually, it did, because the relative humidity didn't go down. That means that more water vapor is actually in the air. And yeah, that's, especially if snow cover is shrinking, yeah, that's good to look at the stars. But if the temperature and especially the humidity is not rising, so the sight is not that good anymore. So that means we have two comparing systems, but actually in the most regions of this world, the snow cover is no critical part. And so this rising temperatures, rising humidity brings you a weaker sight to, or not that good sight to the stars anymore. You can now go on with precipitation as well, because in the warmer air, if you have more humidity in the air, more humidity in as rain or as snow, but especially as rain can come down. And as we expect, for example, in Germany, this summertime, they had really huge amounts of rain. And the climate change maybe brings better conditions for this kind of extreme events, because, as I said, warm air can capture more water, and this water can come down then. And as we know from studies, climate change causes that weather patterns are going to last longer. That means that bad weather situations will stay on for a longer time, and also a heat wave, for example, so high pressure systems could last longer. And that is a cause of climate change. So when you go back to looking to the stars, if you have if you have, for example, a high pressure system, it's expected that these high pressure systems will last longer in the future. If you have a low pressure system, and then you expect longer terms of bad weather conditions. And this can bring the problems that when you have a rain system going on, as in Germany, for example, maybe 30 years ago, the same system would not have caused these fatalities as this system actually in this year caused. Yeah, so that brings me to a point that you have the thing that we can, that we have actually to do something to change, because oh, what happened to my pictures over there? It's so crazy. Hallelujah! What happens here? There should be now two pictures just to show you the dark sky, the bright sky, and I hope that the next I've got, it's not working anymore. You can see the whole graph. No, you can't. Actually, you cannot. Are you still here? Hello?
Hello. Yes, we are still here.
Yeah, still here. So
have you got your two pictures? Your two photographs?
You got my two pictures.
No, we didn't see them. Your dark sky and your bright sky. Okay,
and the climate change has the black stripe, has it? Yes.
Yes, the climate change has a black stripe across it. Yes.
That's a very pity. So I'm very sorry for this, for the technical problems actually here. But as it just shows you the last part of my presentation right here. This is for the future going on. What will happen? This red line you see in the middle of the picture is just the end of the end of what we are right now. So the right part where we are predicting to go to the future. The upper curve the upper right line is what will happen if we don't change our system. So the business as usual. If we go on doing nothing, then we could expect temperatures which will be more than 3 degrees higher than the warm years right now. If we go on with really climate change, if we go on with economy, we change our economy systems, and we go on to do something for our environment, then we can still stay at the level just up the black stripe over here. So that's the blue level. So this would be a green business, not the business as usual. It would be a green line. So when we go now to start really for a good economy systems, and we do the Green Deal, as they say, then we can manage to go to the blue line at the right side. And if we don't do anything, we will expect at least a temperature increase of right now, a warming of more than 3 degrees from right now. But as we see right now, the red line here is still above the predictions of the future. So it's very, very strange to see where we would go. Right now, we are much too warm compared to the predictions. So I think we should really go on with some Green Deal things and to improve and to start on to do something. If we do nothing, it will warm and warm and warm. It will really be a strange warming, and the consequences will be quite intense for us, especially in the Alps, and also for the coastal areas. Is the rising of the sea level is especially in the lower altitudes in England, Great Britain, a topic, also in the Netherlands or northern Germany. But these are the richer areas of this world. In Bangladesh or somewhere else in the poorer areas, we will expect huge problems. And if we don't do anything, we should prepare for really a lot of refugees coming to Europe. And that's also the thing why we should do something against climate change. So as I was taught that I just have 15 minutes, that actually was already my short presentation. I just want to thank you for attention. I hope I could give you a short introduction what climate change is about in the Alps. This is a picture I took maybe 1 or 2 years ago of the highest mountain of Austria, of the Großglockner, and so I think it's it's very nice thing with the moon at the left or the right side. Yeah, I hope I could give you a short introduction, and thank you very much. Don't have to say much more for the moment.
Thank you. Diolch, Gerhard. I think the climate change is a very topical topic at the moment. I think more and more people are talking about climate change and the impact of climate change. We need to get young people talking about it as well, and more so, we've also got now politicians across the world talking about climate change and the impact and how it will affect individuals, businesses, countries, and as you mentioned, those people living in the poorest part of the world, they are going to be severely impacted by the effects of climate change if we do nothing. And I suppose, well, we must get a clear message out there. We must get a message that has impact, that delivers change as well, across the world, and especially the countries like the UK, America, China, Russia, and so on. So the important word you had at the end of your presentation there was attention. Thank you for your attention. I think everybody needs to take attention of what's happening here at the moment. And whilst you did have some technical difficulties, I think you've got the message over pretty clear that we cannot afford to sit on our hands and do nothing about what's happening at the moment with climate change.
Yeah, and I just want to add at the end that all when I talk to the people, all they say, "Oh, we have to wait that China and the US have to change. We have to wait until they change." You cannot wait until they change. You just can influence your own surrounding, yourself. So we all have to change. Everybody of us, you and me, everybody has to change and go on with this change and not be afraid. See the chances we have, you have. So go on, be proud, don't be afraid. Go out, be brave, go out and change yourself. Then you can change your surrounding, and then the others will follow. If we wait and say, "Oh yeah, they burn the tires in China and they burn the coal and I don't know what they all do, bad things." So yeah, maybe they do it, but they do it because they want to produce for us cheap stuff, for example. So go out, change yourself, be brave, say, "Hey, we want you, government, to change your system as well. We want you to bring new laws, and then the others will follow." If we don't do anything, then we just can react what they will tell us to do. Now we can act. If we wait, we just can react. That's what I want to tell you. Be one of the acting persons, be one of the acting players, and not wait until we just can react.
Gerhard, as a simple and clear message, what would you recommend that as many people do as possible to change? What one thing, I suppose there are many things we need to do, but what one thing can we all do to try and change things?
First, reduce all your what's the English word? Consumption. Reduce your consumption. We buy and buy and buy things and throw them away. We buy every year, you buy new clothes, new shoes, because they are not the right fashion anymore. So reduce your consumption, reduce your meat consumption, eat less meat. as easy as that. Eat more vegetables and reduce the consumption of fuel. So reduce your daily car ride, your go by bike, go by foot, go by train, don't go by plane, don't go by ship, cruising ships. They just you have to reduce consumption. And if we manage to do this, because we have so much we don't need, but we buy it, and if we just manage it to reduce all of this stuff or these things, This, we get rid of these things we don't actually use, and we just buy things we really use, we really need. So come on, do this, would help us so much. Economy has changed then, yeah, that's for sure. But we know that this system, this economy system we have, won't work anymore. We have an economy of growth, and this growth is not allowed to shrink. If it's going to shrink, everybody says, oh, it's going down, it's breakdown. So it's economy of growth, and the growth of products. And this growth must change maybe to mind growth and to quality growth, but not the growth of more products. And yeah.
Thank you for those 3 tips. I think I'll be taking those away. Thank you for being part of today's Argo Navis conference. A pleasure to hear your story and to hear your accent, and your English is nearly as good as mine.
Thank you very much. Yeah. I once was to Scotland, and a friend of mine first told me, yeah, I think the people are nice over here. Actually, I haven't understood a word, but I think they're nice. Yeah. So I hope you understood my English. I understood your English, and I enjoy this accent from Wales region. I really love it. And yeah, have a nice day.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.